So the last 24 hours in the NBA have been bananas as Anthony Davis's trade request has reverberated through every fan base. We have heard a lot of really terrible trades suggested, a few super interesting ones, and of course, hours of speculation on the Celtics-Lakers rivalry playing out yet again. However, along with all of that, there has also been a whole echo discussion happening in the NBA's front offices, how the collective bargaining agreement is once again failing in some of its designs to prevent player movement. And look, I know there are a few more boring sentences than I want to talk about the CBA. There's, did I tell you what I had for dinner last Thursday? And no, really, I'd love to hear about your third cat. Maybe even those don't quite cut it, but still, we have to take a minute and acknowledge that every time there's a new CBA, the owner's side keeps trying to incentivize players to stay with teams longer, and it keeps backfiring. Like the Supermax, which was created as a reaction to Kevin Durant bolting Oklahoma City for Golden State and leaving the Thunder with nothing. And by nothing, I mean the memories of a dream finals run, an MVP season, and the $1 million he donated on the spot after deadly tornadoes swept through the state. But yeah, in terms of a franchise ledger, yes, nothing. And certainly Durant's departure was scary for smaller teams trying to compete with the bright lights of bigger cities. So in fine CBA tradition, they came up with yet another variation of the let's just make it so a star player's current team can offer him so much money that more than anyone else, there's no way he'll turn it down plan. And let's do it a year before free agency. All about the money? So that he locks himself up before any other team can get a shot at him. But instead of it actually working, it's backfired. This era of NBA players already make so much money that many of the stars in line for a Supermax have asked to be traded before it could even be offered. Paul George, Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard, and yes, now Anthony Davis, who is asking for a trade 18 months before his contract is even up. And the players who have stayed, while those Supermax contracts either already have or sure look like they could turn into huge anchors around the necks of the teams who have to pay them. And it's not like the Supermax is the only time this kind of CBA effort didn't quite work. Remember when the owners reacted to the Heatles by beefing up the luxury tax, hoping it would become prohibitively expensive for glamour market teams to stockpile talent? Instead, it turned out to be the small market teams who, for the most part, couldn't pay the bigger tax, while the richer owners, well, many of them kept spending. Look, here is the bottom line. The NBA has free agency. This is a good thing. It's a good thing because player movement keeps the league fresh and generates huge interest 12 months a year. And it's a good thing because players are human beings and at some point deserve the same right as the rest of us to get to decide where they want to work and who for and where they want to live and raise their kids. And yeah, there needs to be some system in place so every team gets at least an initial chance at elite players as they come in the league. But the system we have now, where those teams in essence control the first 7 to 8 years of an elite player's career, that's enough. And if you want that player to sign away more of his life to your team, how about trying to be a franchise that's worthy of that, as opposed to just trying to come up with more and more spectacular bribes to keep them there? And also recognizing sometimes players are going to want to change just because they want to change. That's what happened with KD. No amount of bribe could have kept Kevin in Oklahoma, but that's okay, because guess what? The Thunder are such a strong organization that when Paul George did have the opportunity to go to a bigger, more, quote, glamorous market and team up with one of the best players on earth, he turned it down to stay instead. So back to New Orleans, which is actually one of the most fun, most culturally rich cities in the country.
I love it.
And a place that players should want to be.
Cafe du Monde.
But instead, the decisions made by Pelicans management, from bad trades to bad contracts to skimping on medical resources, have led to AD wanting out. It seems like addressing all of that might be a better place to put our energy instead of fretting over this CBA.